Hey, everybody. It is Melissa Haley here, and we are going to jump into our Facebook Live. Welcome, everybody. I'm Melissa Haley. I'm the broker owner of the North Texas Top Team Realtors, and our office serves the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and we specialize in residential real estate. And tonight we're going to be talking about the pitfalls to avoid when selling your home. So while we're waiting for everybody to jump on our Facebook Live, let me quickly introduce everybody tonight. I have Jamie Mumley with me. She's a top producing realtor at North Texas Top Team Realtors.
Hey guys, happy to be here.
Awesome. I also have Taylor Redfern with us tonight. Taylor is my right-hand person. She's a licensed agent and she helps me run the office. And she's moderating the chat for us tonight. So we're going to make sure to answer any of your questions at the end of the night. And also we'll be posting a link for you to get some free information too, as we wrap things up tonight.
Hey everybody, glad to be here. If you have any questions, just leave them in the chat. We'll get to them by the end of the night.
Awesome. All right. Well, so like I said, while we're waiting for some others to join the Facebook Live, let's just get to know Jamie just a little bit better. So Jamie, now I've known you for a really long time, but you know, gosh, dynamic duo and all, but tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Well, I have been in sales and marketing for 20 plus years. I'm not going to give an exact number because then you might be able to tell how old I am.
Or how old I am. Holy shit.
We knew each other in kindergarten. Don't worry about it.
Right.
So for the last 5 years, I've been a realtor. And in that time, I've helped over 100 families with their moves. For the last 3 years, I've been recognized by 5-star professionals as a rising star in real estate. And this is an honor that means a lot to me because aside from it being based off of production, it's based off of feedback from current and past clients, as well as my colleagues and fellow realtors. I'm a big believer in continuing education, and I routinely take more than the minimum requirements to fulfill my licensing because I believe the more I know, the better job I can do for my clients and the better I can advise them. In my time, I have earned the following designations: Graduate Realtor Institute. I am a certified residential specialist, short sale and foreclosure resource, and I've earned NAR's commitment to excellence endorsed. And in the next year or two, I intend to get my broker's license, but not because I plan to leave, just because I want to continue my growth as a realtor and just expand my knowledge base.
That is awesome. Well, I know you're definitely an awesome resource for your clients. And I have to say, I appreciate the fact that you go above and beyond with your education because, you know, I mean, I feel the same way, right? I teach all those classes to realtors all across the state because I do think the more educated an agent is, the better job they can do for their clients. So I know your clients are lucky to have you for sure. So while we're waiting for others to join, let's just briefly chat about what's happening in the real estate market today, because man, Jamie, everywhere I go, every channel I turn on, every news article, anywhere, it talks about how crazy the real estate market is all across the country. So tell us a little bit about what's happening in the real estate market.
Well, it continues to be a strong seller's market. In both Dallas and Collin County, there's just a little over 1 month's worth of inventory on the market. So in other words, if nothing else were to list during that time frame, everything that's on the market now would be sold in just over a month. And as a result of the demand and lack of supply, prices in Dallas County are up 18% from this time last year. And in Collin County, they're up 23%.
Whoa. Okay. Wait a minute. You said 18 and 23%. So is now a good time to invest in real estate? I mean, that's way better than the returns I'm getting on the stock market.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see any signs of it slowing down, at least for a little while. And I don't know that we'll ever go back down as far as values. I think they'll probably continue to rise, maybe at the rate, not at the rate that they are currently, hopefully not.
Yeah. Well, and I have to say, you said that if we didn't get any more listings in a month, we'd be out of houses to sell. So if somebody's thinking about selling, now's a good time to do that, don't you think?
Send me a text message. I'll get back to you after this.
Awesome. Awesome. That's right. Because you're working all the time. I love that. Well, this is really great information. So some of you might just be tuning in right now and you're wondering what's going on here. Well, we're just about to start our Facebook Live presentation, and it's called Pitfalls to Avoid When Selling Your Home. So in just a moment, we're going to get that started. And also we're going to be giving away a free ebook tonight. So stay tuned later on and you can find out how to get your copy of the ebook, The Ultimate Guide to Selling Your House, because man, now is a great time to sell. So we're going to put that in there. Taylor, are you going to be providing that to folks later?
Yep, I'm going to comment in the chat and you can just click the link to fill out the form to get more information.
That is awesome. Thanks so much for doing that, Taylor. We really appreciate it. All right. So for everybody who's just getting logged in, we're about to start. So you have perfect timing. Welcome, everybody. Tonight, I have with me Jamie Mumley. She is a top producing realtor with North Texas Top Team Realtors.
Hi there.
And I also have Taylor Redfern with us. She's my right-hand person. She's the general. She is in charge at the office, y'all. And she is moderating the chat for us tonight. Thank you, Taylor. And she's going to help to make sure that we get all of your questions answered at the end of the night. So, you know, hopefully if you have any questions, throw them in there. Right, Taylor?
Yes, any questions, put them in the chat. And then I will be putting the link for the free ebook in the chat as well.
All right. Sounds fabulous. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Well, so here's the scoop. Today's topic is pitfalls to avoid when selling your home, right? And what we're going to talk about is, first of all, the crazy sellers market that we've seen for the past year or so, and some of the best practices for getting the most money for your home, and some things to do, and well, frankly, things not to do when you're selling your home. So I know everybody's ready to learn about this. So let's just go ahead and get started. And Jamie, I think the first question that people would want to know would be, well, what's happening in the real estate market right now? What are you seeing out there?
Y'all, it's been a seller's market for the past year. Even through the pandemic, home prices were steadily rising, and this is largely due to supply and demand. From 2019 to 2020, the DFW population grew by 120,000 people. And from 2020 to 2021, it grew by another 117,000. That's an average of 320 people per day.
Whoa. All right. Okay. First of all, that's super important for our viewers to just be aware of. But okay, you said 320 people per day just in DFW, right? Not the whole state?
Just in DFW.
Oh, man. All right. Well, that explains the traffic too, right? So since the market is such a hot seller's market, and because it sounds like we just don't have enough houses for all of these people that are moving here, I think people might be wondering, is it even possible for me to sell a house and buy another one at the same time? Maybe I don't want to move because I don't think a home seller would take my offer if it was contingent on the sale of my current house, right?
I would say because the market's so competitive right now, it would probably be nearly impossible to get an offer accepted if it was contingent on the sale of your current home. But even if you need the equity from your current home to buy your future home, there are some creative workarounds. There are bridge loans, which enable you to buy before you sell. Also, in the current seller's market, it's quite possible to negotiate a 30 to 60-day temporary seller's leaseback on your home. So we could list your home and then look for your future home once your current home is sold.
Okay. So, I mean, with that being said, I think that it's good for sellers to know it is possible to sell without having to maybe live in an apartment, right? Because that's what I would have thought is, all right, if I want to sell my house, I need to sell my house, move in an apartment, find some temporary housing, move in with my kids, right? I mean, they owe me, I'm just saying. Thank God I have so many. But I don't want to move into an apartment while I wait to shop for my next home. So I know if that's a relief to me, that's probably a relief to a lot of other people. So Jamie, you mentioned price was so important in this aspect, right? So with everything selling so fast and for so much money, it sounds like, why wouldn't I just price my house really high? I mean, it seems like now would be the time that I could get away with that.
Well, now more than ever, buyers are conditioned to think that they're likely going to have to be at or above list price in order to compete for a home. So if your home is priced well above where it should be, you run the risk of scaring potential buyers off. Also, people looking in a specific area may not even see your home in their search if it's outside the price range of similar houses in that area.
I see. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Okay, so it's good to learn about this before you list your house for sale because, having all of this information, I think, is paramount. So speaking of selling a house, what is the first step that I need to take if I wanted to sell my house right now? What would I need to do?
Well, first of all, you're going to call me
Of
and then
course.
and then talk to a lender to get pre-approved for a mortgage. And then together we'll map out a game plan.
Oh, all right. Okay. Well, so you make it sound really easy. Just call you and you got us under control, which I love. Yeah, you would take good care of me, right?
I would take great care of you.
Awesome. All right. Well, so before we keep going, I just want to remind everybody real quick that at the end of the night, we're going to provide a link where you can get our free ebook, The Ultimate Guide to Selling Your Home. And that would be a great resource for anyone who's thinking of selling their house, and especially with all this good information you're giving us, Jamie. So I would just say to everybody out there on Facebook tonight, stick with us so that you can get your free ebook and get started on that process. So Jamie, you mentioned that I need to talk to a mortgage lender before I list my house, but it seems like I would only need to do that if I'm buying a house. So why do I need to ask them up front? What do I need to talk to them about?
Well, that's going to help us determine what your options are. We can figure out if you can qualify for a mortgage while you still have your current mortgage, or if you're eligible for a bridge loan. Depending on the equity you have in your home, you may be able to qualify for a bridge loan with no additional money down up front. Also, we want to make sure that there's not some outstanding issue that would prevent you from qualifying for a new mortgage. The last thing we want to do is have you go under contract to sell your home and then discover you're not in a position to buy because you can't qualify for a mortgage, because then you'd have no other option but to rent.
Oh man, and not just rent for like 30 days while I shop, right? You're talking like rent for a long time.
Right.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
no, I'm definitely not going back into an apartment. And I've lived in my house a long time, so I mean, I feel like I have some good equity in it, but I don't know how much. So I'd probably need to chat with you about that for sure.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, so based on all of this information, it sounds like I could get qualified to buy a house before I even sell my house, which would be amazing, because I know how much work it is to pack and everything, get everything ready for moving and just that whole drama. So if I could only move once instead of having to get temporary housing like that apartment, for a month or two, man, that would be great. I would be so much happier if that could be the process. So tell me a little bit more about this whole option of buying before I sell. I want to make sure that I got all that information.
Sure. So Marcus Thompson with First Bank is one of my preferred lenders.
Okay.
And First Bank has a bridge loan program, which, if you can qualify, enables you to make a non-contingent offer on your future home before your current home is sold. With that program, you have a 6-month window during which you would just be paying the mortgage on your existing home. And since homes are selling so quickly, there's a high probability that if your existing home is priced correctly and marketed well, we'll be able to close on the sale of it long before the 6-month window is up.
Okay.
Of course, there are some additional fees associated with the bridge loan, but I've had a handful of clients qualify for the bridge loan in order to make a non-contingent offer, and we were successful in getting their home under contract and closed in time so that they could switch back to a regular conventional loan. And by doing so, they didn't have to pay any of the fees associated with the bridge loan.
That's cool.
Yeah. There's also a company called Knock that has a program called Knock Home Swap. And that program works similar to a bridge loan. The primary difference is that they'll cover up to $25,000 in updates and repairs prior to you listing your home. And then once it's sold, you'll pay them back for any costs they've incurred during the home swap with the proceeds from the sale.
What? Okay, that's kind of cool. That means I can fix up my house that it is older. I mean, I've been here a while, and then not pay for those repairs until later. I really like that option. So, all right. So say that I wanted to get my house ready for sale. What do I need to do to get the house ready? Do you have any tips or tricks for helping me get top dollar?
For sure. So the first thing that you want to do is declutter. So if you have a lot of knickknacks out, or if you have a lot of collectibles, a lot of pictures, you want to put the majority of those away. Think of it as just starting to pack early. But really less is more when you're putting a home on the market and having people come through to look at it. You want them to be able to visualize themselves living there. So you want to declutter.
Okay.
You'll want to make minor repairs, clean your home, including the windows. And if you have pets, or you smoke, or you tend to cook using strong spices, you may consider how you can neutralize those odors. But for God's sakes, do not try to hide them with deodorizer. It just doesn't work. And people don't want to feel like they're tasting, tropical breeze when they walk in your house. You may also consider staging. And lastly, don't forget to spruce up the outdoor space. Curb appeal is really critical. It's the first impression when someone's coming to see your home. So you want to put new mulch in the flower beds, you want to weed, plant some flowers, trim the bushes, and cut the lawn.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. I love what you said about neutralize the odors. Because yeah, I feel like I went to someone's house not that long ago, and it did smell like a dog, but it smelled like a lavender dog. I don't know. It wasn't a good smell. Is that what you're talking about?
I am talking about that. I don't want to feel like I can taste the air freshener when I walk into a house.
Yeah. Well, and I bet there are some buyers that might be allergic,
It's true. It can be very off-putting. I'd almost rather whatever the previous smell was.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, these are definitely all things that I could do to help get my house ready for sale. And I definitely would do them if I knew it was going to get me the most money. So just a minute ago, you mentioned home staging. So do you really think home stagers work? I mean, I don't know. Do they work?
I think so. I mean, really, the purpose of staging can be having a professional who specializes in staging come in to give you advice on how to arrange the furniture and things like that. But really, staging is also decluttering and cleaning up. And what staging does is it helps to highlight the home's best features and will downplay any of your home's flaws. For a vacant home, it can also help buyers visualize how they're going to use the space. But beyond traditional staging, with technology now, we also have a more affordable option to consider, which is virtual staging. And for vacant homes, we can basically have the company come in and place furniture in the pictures once the professional photos are done.
That's cool. All right.
Yeah. So anyone that wants to dive a little deeper into staging should check out our Facebook Live on Thursday, October 21st with Brittany Frost. She's another realtor at North Texas Top Team.
Oh, okay. And she'll be chatting about staging. That sounds great. All right. Well, so sounds like there's some things that I would need to do in advance if I was going to get my house ready for sale. And I know that you mentioned a minute ago how important it is to price the house right from the start. And I think you said that if you didn't, it would take longer to sell. But here's the thing. What if I'm not in a hurry? What if I just want to price the house a little higher anyway? Because it doesn't matter to me if it's on the market a long time. I mean, does it really matter?
Well, particularly in the current market where homes are selling so quickly, if a buyer sees that your home's been on the market for several days, they may assume that there's something wrong with it. And it almost gets a stigma attached to it. Also, if your home is priced too high, you may miss out on being able to leverage supply and demand. For a home that's priced appropriately, you'll have more interest and you're more likely to get multiple offers, which will often drive the price up organically and may enable us to negotiate more favorable terms for you. Additionally, the longer your home is on the market, the longer you have to keep it clean and show ready and be inconvenienced by showings if you're still living there.
All right, that makes that's something that I just all of a sudden was like a light bulb moment. Oh,
Yeah, because if you have a dog, you're gonna have to get that dog out of the house for showings and all that good stuff. So it's usually easier for the seller if their home sells quickly, unless you like having strangers come through your house.
not me. All right, well, all of this makes sense, and I really hadn't thought about it this way. So I definitely don't want to go through any more inconvenience than necessary. And I do have a dog, and it would be a total pain because she can't even go to doggy daycare. I mean, I'd have to take her for walks every time there was a showing. And it sounds like if I price it right, I'm better off getting a bidding war and getting the most money instead of getting low offer. So
Correct.
if I go to all this trouble, I get the house cleaned, I get it staged, I get it decluttered, I do all this stuff, you put it on the market, and now I've got a contract. Well, then what's the next step?
Well, the next step is that the buyers will schedule a home inspection, and based on the findings of that inspection, they may request repairs or consideration in lieu of repairs. Prior to listing, especially if your home is older or if you've lived in it for a long time, you may want to consider having a pre-listing home inspection. After the buyers do their home inspection, the buyer's lender will order an appraisal. And from that point forward, it's usually smooth sailing. But if any challenges arise, hopefully you have a knowledgeable realtor on your side to help you navigate through them and get to the closing table.
All right, very good. Well, so you mentioned something that I think most people wouldn't have thought of. You said if you've lived in your house for a long time, you might want to get a pre-listing home inspection. I thought only buyers got home inspection. What is this pre-listing inspection, and why is this a good idea?
Well, a pre-listing inspection is going to help you avoid any surprises. And we're not talking about the good surprises. Any surprises that may come up during the buyer's home inspection. And by being aware of these potential issues, you can address many of them before your home's listed on the market. Some of those items may be able to be addressed more affordably by a handyman or even by yourself. Whereas if the buyer's requesting the repair and it's something that is typically done by a licensed professional, for example, if it's electrical or plumbing related or HVAC related, they're going to require that you have a licensed professional in that field do the work.
Okay. All right. Well, this is a lot of really good information and some really great tips. However, I have another question. So what if I'm in a situation where I need to sell my house pretty quickly? I don't really have any time. I definitely don't have any money to fix it up. I don't want to do a home inspection. I don't want to do any staging. I don't even want to put out mulch or get it cleaned. Are there options for people that are in this situation that may want to just sell their house as is?
Absolutely. We have investors who are always looking for homes to buy, but truly, if you price the house for the condition of the home, it will sell on the market for the best price available for a home in that condition. Also, if you do want to invest a little time, but you just don't have the funds to do repairs or updates up front, we have a couple of different options and people that will do repairs and do updates and accept payment at closing from the proceeds of the sale.
Okay. That could be really helpful. If I didn't have any money up front, but I needed to make the repairs, I can just pay for them at closing sometimes.
Correct.
Okay. All right. That's good info. All right. Well, so is there anything else that maybe I haven't thought to ask that maybe if I'm selling a house, I need to know about?
Sure. So there are a couple of forms that you're going to fill out in advance of listing. One is the seller's disclosure. And this is a really important document. The purpose of it is to disclose any issues with the house you're selling that you're aware of. And it gives potential buyers information and a historical account of the home. The reason it's so important that you're thorough when completing this form is because it can reduce your liability and your risk of being sued after closing. So if you were to do a pre-listing home inspection, you can and should provide a copy of the inspection along with your seller's disclosure.
Okay.
Also, if your house was built before 1978, you'll be required to complete a lead-based paint addendum. And then lastly, if you have a copy of your survey, which you probably do, it's probably in the folder that you got when you closed on your house, however long ago when you bought it, you'll want to provide that to your realtor, as well as any documentation or warranties related to major repairs. For example, if you've had foundation work done.
Yeah, and my house is older, so yeah, I need all those disclosures. All right. Well, this is a lot of information, and I feel like it's a little overwhelming. So no wonder people do really need a realtor when they sell a house, because there's so much information to know. And I feel like I would get lost in the shuffle if I didn't have you there to guide me. So, all right. So let's just stop for just a second. And I just want to make sure everybody out there knows, if you want more information about our ebook, we're giving away a free ebook. It's called The Ultimate Guide to Selling a Home or a House. Jamie, it sounds like you really know what it takes to help a home seller. Certainly they can get this free ebook. I know Taylor's putting that in the chat for everybody. But Jamie, I do think that it sounds like you're really invested in your clients. You're really making sure to stay educated so you can educate your clients on what to expect as they go through this process. But let me just check real quick. Taylor, do we have any questions from the folks on Facebook that we need to address real quick?
Nope, not at this time.
Oh, that is because Jamie is so smart and she already knew exactly what they were going to ask. So Jamie, you did a great job. Thank you for helping out.
Absolutely.
And absolutely. And then, the only other thing I would say is, just telling everybody that watched tonight, thanks so much for taking time to spend a little bit of time with us tonight. And Jamie and Taylor, for you both, thanks for hopping on with me. Jamie, specifically for you, thank you so much for sharing your expertise with everybody. I really appreciate it. I know they really appreciate it. So make sure, if you'd like to get a copy of our book, that you go ahead and do that right now by clicking on the chat. And then I'm going to put something up here on the screen so that everybody can see if they need to reach you. Jamie, is this the best way for somebody to reach you here?
Absolutely.
All right. So give you a call if they have questions, 214-762-3598. That'll go right to you. Can they text you there too?
Absolutely. Call or text. Much to my husband's chagrin, I'm pretty much on my phone 24 hours a day, but that's the life I chose and I love it.
Awesome. Well, we love it that you are part of North Texas Top Team. You are an amazing rock star realtor, and I'm super excited that we're getting to be the dynamic duo together in real estate. So thanks for hanging out with us tonight.
Thanks for having me. Stay off those milk crates.
Oh, absolutely. No, no milk crate challenge for me. That is for sure. I think that would be a very dangerous place to put me, is on top of a bunch of stacked up boxes. All right. Well, y'all have a great night. Thanks again for sticking around with us. And if you want to watch this again, it'll be available on our Facebook at North Texas Top Team. So if you're on Facebook, you can just look us up at North Texas Top Team Realtors, and you'll be able to go through some other great information that we provide to other home buyers and sellers in the DFW area. So y'all have a great night.
Night.
Bye, everybody.